Hi, this is Joe again with another movie review, and this time, of course, now we are finally in 2014. Happy New Year again to everyone out there. Of course, this is the time of the year where people uh, race for to get movies in for the 2000 for the next out. They have the films in 2013 to be eligible for the next Oscar Academy Awards. The nominations, of course, obviously not going to be announced yet for another couple of weeks. But the Golden Globe nominations are already out, and that's going to be coming up pretty soon. So people always want to look back towards the greatest Oscar-winning films of all time, which was the best one. But everybody's list is always going to be slightly different. But of course, people always want to compare movies or eras to each other. Like movies are from one in the 30s or 40s or 50s may not compare to the movies of, let's say, the 80s or the 90s. But I'm going to be doing various Academy Award winning films, and if I don't get to your favorite, I'm sorry, I'm just going to be talking about films that I've seen, or Academy Award winning movies I've seen. So obviously not everybody's going to see every single film. But I'm going to be the first. I already done a review of Titanic, which I feel is one of the few Oscar-winning films that won Best Picture. They actually deserved it. So I'm going to be showing these other movie reviews. We're talking about the most overrated. I feel it's the most overrated Oscar-winning movie of all time, and that is the 1994 film, Forrest Gump. Starring Tom Hanks, Robin Wright, Gary Sinise, and Kai Wilkinson. Of course, this is a movie that is based on the novel written by Winston Gump. And of course, this is also a movie that earned Tom Hanks his second consecutive Oscar. The one that, of course, which is rare. I don't think anyone has ever done it since, won an Oscar back-to-back Oscar years. But the first one he won for Philadelphia for playing a gay lawyer who was dying of AIDS. This time he's playing a mentally retarded man. He won an Academy Award for that. So of course, this was at the height when Forrest Gump came out. It was at the height of actors and actresses respectively who have won awards at your best acting awards, whether it be the Emmys or the Oscars, for playing somebody with some kind of disability. And Tom Hanks did it 2 years in a row. Of course, those of you who don't know Forrest Gump, and also of course Forrest Gump was, along with with Disney's The Lion King, became the two top highest earning movies for 1994. So those of you who, of course, are on the film, Tom Hanks plays a mentally retarded man named Forrest Gump, who through I don't want to call it like 3 decades, it's really like 4 decades, really. From the 1950s, the late 50s, through the 60s, 70s, and the early 80s. Well, finally, looking for One True Love, which was played by Robin Wright, who plays Jenny. And of course, let me say it's overrated because I really did not see this movie when it came out in the theaters. Because of all the hype that surrounded Forrest Gump, and B, of all the stupid, idiotic, annoying as hell sequences in this film. I'm talking about, of course, where Forrest Gump saying stupid this and stupid does, like about every 5 minutes. At least it feels that way. Every 5 minutes he says stupid this and stupid does. Or somebody says to him, are you stupid or something? Of course, Forrest Gump says stupid this and stupid does, sir, throughout the film. And of course, the other annoying line is, of course, life is like a box of chocolates, you never know what you're going to get. So you have those two annoying lines, pretty much what stupid is, stupid does, is more than life is like a box of chocolates line. But both things are annoying as hell. In these type of movies, or these types of storylines, not just on in the movies, but also on television shows like soap operas in particular, which it's never really around on that much really force on left to television today. They always do a storyline like this, and the person who plays the part always wins the Emmy for playing that part. Same thing with Tom Hanks playing Forrest Gump. Same thing. But I'm not saying that Tom Hanks is not a good actor or that he wasn't good in the part. He was, but the part itself and the character was annoying as anything I could be. And of course, the opening sequence, you see a feather blowing in the breeze at the beginning of the film, the opening credits, and of course at the end credits. Of course, it's supposed to symbolize that force flows through life like a feather on a breeze. And that's of course what really what it is. Because a guy with his disability should not be in any kind of position of where he is. So, but eventually he was, and of course that storyline caught up to the rest of the country. Oh, what's such an inspirational story? This movie changed my life. What a bunch of crap. And I mean, come on, with the liberal media Hollywood, but gave this film such a huge push. It wasn't even funny to see what a great film this was. And of course, the movie starts in the late 50s actually, where Tom Hanks' mother was played by Sally, or Forrest's mother was played by Sally Field. Of course, she was the one who actually said the line originally to Forrest, the life's like a box of chocolates line. And she ran this rooming house. And that house they lived in was a rooming house. And one of the guests was Elvis Presley, and Forrest inspires that the crazy dance in one of his performances of Hound Dog, I think it was. I forgot, I'm not sure it was on some variety show. I don't know if it was Ed Sullivan or something. We did that dance, that Forrest inspired him that dance because they met in the house. Come on. I mean, this movie is so unbelievable. It's ridiculous. And of course, he meets, for the 60s, he wore braces on his legs, and of course, he was bullied by other kids for being such an idiot. And of course, somehow he managed to be able to walk normally and be normally while he was running away from these bullies. The braces break apart, somehow magically break apart. And now all of a sudden, you're looking on the kid who played for us as a kid, somehow all of a sudden can run normally, or walk normally. Because he had, as a kid, he had like a crooked spine. So he had to be the stupid braces. So he in the way, of course, the way he spoke, the slow southern drawl he had, he was easily picked on. The only one that befriended him was Jenny. I know who played Jenny when we were kids. But she was one friend him and asking questions, well, why do you have those things on your legs? And so he asked him questions, and it became over the years through high school and everything else. So somehow he ran away from these bullies again. Second time they were older in high school, and they had the one to Bear Bryant, who was the head coach of the football team in Alabama. So he ran fast and recruited him for the football team for punt returns. He was in college stupid enough to be in college for 5 years. I'm surprised that they allowed somebody who's supposed to be as stupid as Forrest Gump with his low IQ into college in those days. But they did because they now passed him because he ran fast for the football team. And of course, after he graduated from college, he got drafted, put into the draft. And I didn't think he was really drafted. He just signed up for the army. That's when he meets Bubba, played by Powell, Williamson, which is probably like another idiot, but slightly, not too much smaller, but slightly smaller than Forrest. But he was also an annoying character because through the whole time that he was in the film, he kept talking about shrimp. Because his family was in the shrimping business down in Alabama, talking about how there's shrimp salad, shrimp stew, shrimp barbecue, shrimp, and all that. Shrimp stew, shrimp salad, all this crap. I mean, by the time I saw the end of the sequence, I know more about shrimp than the actor playing the part, which is far too much for me. But there was also another annoying character, and of course they go to Vietnam, and they meet Lieutenant Dan. And of course, there was a particular sequence where one of the few good sequences that was tolerable for me was when Forrest's platoon got attacked, and he saved. Forrest pulled everyone out who was alive to this river being out there. I guess with the name River or something. And except for Bubba, because Bubba was killed in that attack. He died in Forrest's arms right there in that river. And because of that, because he was, saved as many people as he could, he pulled I don't know how many guys out, like 7 guys. He got the Medal of Honor. He got honored by Lyndon Johnson. Earlier he met John Kennedy because he was on the American team. But then he goes to the White House for a second time to be honored by Lyndon Johnson for the get the Medal of Honor. And then of course later on he meets Richard Nixon for the ping pong team. Of course throughout the movie he keeps running back into Jenny. Because Jenny got kicked out of her college because some topless pictures of her got out. Well, she posed with topless pictures and the photographer saw the Playboy. Of course, they got kicked out, and then of course she was singing in this club, naked. And so that she was wearing suggestive face, pantyhose. So she was wearing pantyhose, but she was still, and nothing else. I think for high heel shoes, that's it. And of course, they got kicked out of the club. Before I was trying to save her, because the guy was trying to grab her in the club. And of course, she left, and then her character turned to drug. It had a better storyline, and a much sadder storyline than Forrest did. And because she ended up turning to drugs, she got into LSD. And of course, Forrest kept writing her letters, and she kept returning them. She wasn't answering any one of his letters. And then, of course, with Forrest, his life is getting improved, but it's sure dumb luck. And there's no way that a guy like Forrest Gump will meet 3 presidents in reality. There's no way he will meet 3 presidents. There's no way in hell would this guy go on the Dick Cavett show with John Lennon, meet Governor Wallace when he was at the University of Alabama. There's one scene in there. But there's one thing that the movie did well was how they spliced Tom Hanks into actual news footage of these real life people. And I thought it was, they also won Academy Award for that as well. And then of course when he got out of the when he was ready for the military and everything, he again met up with Lieutenant Dan in New York for the Dick Cavett show, and they hung out for the holidays. And then of course then Forrest decided to go into the strip business to honor Bubba, who was killed in Vietnam. to go into the shrimp business after they get out of the army. So when Forrest officially got out, he decided to do all these endorsements for ping pong sets because he became famous for being on the Army's ping pong team. He went to China to play ping pong with people in China. And it became a big international story. That's how he ended up before Forrest Gump anyway. Forrest Gump on the Dick Cavett show. And of course, he made all this money for endorsing or doing commercials for his ping pong equipment. And so he goes and buys a boat. And at one particular time, he wasn't making any money on the shrimp business because he was getting like a couple of handfuls of shrimp. But then the Hurricane Grace came in, and his boat was the only boat that wasn't destroyed because his boat was out to sea, so to avoid most of the damage. So now, of course, there's no other ships, there's no other competition for him. So now he got all the shrimp. He picked up all the shrimp and became Bubba Gump Shrimp Company. When he went into the Lieutenant Dan and made all this money. And of course, after a while, he stayed at home because his mother was sick. She had cancer. Sally Field's got cancer and died. So he stayed home. He didn't go back working with Lieutenant Dan anymore. Even though the film says for Lieutenant Dan, she was saying with Lieutenant Dan. And then, of course, that's when Jane came, home, really, to Forrest's house. And of course, they were taking walks, and they got to where the house where Jenny lived, which you saw early in the film. And she threw rocks at the house because I guess she realized that came to the other things that her father molested her when she was a kid. It was applied to by Forrest in the early part of the film. And then, of course, Forrest declared his love for Jenny and says, "Will you marry me?" And that time Forrest says, Jenny says, no, turns him down. I said, "You don't want to marry me?" And he says, "Why not? I love you." And Jenny says, "I'm not the type of girl you want to marry, Forrest." And says, "Forrest, you don't even know what love is." She says that to him early in the film when he first declared himself for her. And then when he proposed to her, Forrest says to Jenny, "Look, I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is." This is, of course, one of the battle lines of the film. But then, of course, later on that night, Jenny has time to think it over, and then she goes into Forrest's bedroom and says, "I do love you." And then she has sex with him. She says, "Jenny, what are you doing?" And he says, I love you, Forrest." She takes her nightgown off. You don't really see anything about Robert Wright's bare back. And they do have, second. That's as far as Forrest the love scene goes. And I think the movie is a PG-13. Yes, PG-13 movie. So you only could show so much in a PG-13 film. And of course, the next morning she leaves. So what's Forrest's reaction to having sex for the first time? Not trying to find what Jenny is, what happened to her, but run across country for 3 years. I am not joking. This idiot, jogged for 3 years across the country. Running across the country for 3 years. I mean, come on. And then, of course, people saw fun. And that's when the movie really got silly. At that point. Because people started coming up with him for advice. And there's one guy who wanted to do bumper stickers. He was in the bumper sticker business. And he wanted to come up with a new slogan to put in a bumper sticker. And of course, doesn't really say anything. It's kind of paying money. To the point where he steps into dog shit. And they said, "Oh, I can't believe you went through a big pile of dog shit." And Forrest says, "Well, it happens sometimes." He says, "What shit?" He says, Yeah, sometimes. And of course, that's became the model. Shit happens. You see on t-shirts, you see on bumper stickers and everything else. And the other thing that really got silly was when Forrest was flying through like this truck stop or something, and this truck, uh, went through a puddle of mud or something and splashed mud all over Forrest Gump, and the guy standing next to him, and the guy lying next to him was in the t-shirt business. So he had doesn't even have a yellow t-shirt. He said, you can wipe your face with this. No one likes the color anyway. And he wipes his, Forrest wipes his face, thanks the guy. He says, have a nice day. And of course, on the t-shirt, it looks like the face that's the stupid smiling faces. Now that is a bit, exaggerated. But that's what they did, of course. And then, of course, in the end of the film, Forrest finally gets a letter from Jenny saying, can you come and visit her? And so she did, and of course, he found out, or Jenny tells Forrest that he has a kid. Well, Jenny has a kid. Said, oh, you're mama. He said, yeah, I'm mama. And rather casually says to him, oh, what's it? He said, oh, what's his name? Said, oh, Forrest. Oh, like me. Yeah, well, I need it after the daddy. You got a name named Forrest too? He said, no, he's too dumb to figure it out that he was the father. He doesn't remember. He remembers everything else. He doesn't remember the night that he had sex with Jenny. I mean, come on. Come on. He doesn't remember having sex for the first time. You know? But that's, and of course, she tells him that she has, under that revelation, she tells him that she has the virus. Of course, we all know what the virus is, so we know it wasn't actually mentioned. She had AIDS. And that's what she eventually dies of. And of course, you see at the end of the movie, he goes back to the kid, a little Forrest goes back to school. And of course, the kid who played little Forrest was the same kid who sees dead people. In the movie with Bruce Willis. The Sixth Sense. The same kid, Haley Joel Osment is the same kid. And of course, that's how the movie ends, and that's Forrest Gump. And they won, I don't know how many Academy Awards they won, but actually, of course, they won for Best Picture, they won for Best Director, the editing, and the special effects, because of all those scenes I mentioned, but they put spliced Tom Hanks into those CGI. You were on the verge of CGI at that time, in the early days of CGI. So it was very hard to do scenes like that. But that's what they did, and this movie captured the hearts of everybody, and not mine, because movies like that really, or storylines like this really turns me off. Because you know that, anybody who plays a mentally retarded character, or mentally retarded automatically wins. I mean, it's happened, for years. Like Chris Buck, for example, who actually was mentally retarded, he does have Down syndrome. He did a television show. I think it was My So-Called Life, I think it was. He won an Emmy for playing that part. You had Larry Drake, who was not mentally retarded. He won an Emmy for playing the part in LA Law. So you have constant times when people who are mentally disabled wins an acting award. And they have it with Tom Hanks. And that's what, even though it does have its good points, but like I said, it's overrated. It's so overrated, and it does turn me off. But I still watch the movie because it's a watchable film. But because the movie is a watchable film, it's not making an Oscar-worthy film, in my opinion. But people did it anyway because it was either this movie or Pulp Fiction. And because Forrest Gump was competing against Pulp Fiction, and since it was too violent, or Pulp Fiction was too violent, they'd rather go with the safer, on the Academy voters went for safer pick. So that's my review of Forrest Gump, and we'll be probably doing more Academy Award movies, soon. Thank you for watching. Please like my video, comment on, and please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.